What is leadership? Is there a checklist of traits that make a good leader, or is it completely contextual? This is a very good but complicated question. To start, I want you to think of the type of people you consider leaders. I'd prefer you to think of leaders close to home, but if you can't, think of some historical ones such as Martin Luther King. Got 'em? Good. If I asked you why you think of them as a leader, I imagine your answer would have something to do with their message. The thing they articulate well that resonates most with you. The reason for this is because leadership isn't necessarily a personality trait that you inherit. Otherwise, people could pinpoint leaders by looking up someone's zodiac sign to see what they're capable of. This isn't to say those with certain character traits aren't more attractive, but it is far from their primary appeal. I want to be very clear what we are heading towards in this discussion. This is not about management. Management is the process of dealing with or the controlling of things or people. That is very different from leadership. To discover what it is we find most appealing about our leaders, we must understand the definition of the word lead. Lead, a verb. To guide on a way, especially by going in advance. To direct on a course or in a direction. To serve as a channel for. The thing that stuck out for me the most when analyzing the definition is the second word in each sentence. To guide, direct, and serve. From these three words, we derive the foundation of every great leader. Before we continue, if you're enjoying the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel for many more videos just like this one. The first thing one needs to lead is a direction. Of course, you can lead people in a physical direction, but that's not typically what we discuss a leader guide toward. We're talking about an idea or purpose. The strongest leaders find a purpose and commit themselves to that idea fully. Let's go back to the previous example of MLK. Martin Luther King's beliefs can be summarized as a moral, practical, and Christian-based belief of nonviolent protests towards the core idea of equality. You could say his core purpose was to seek equality, and doing so while practicing nonviolence as a devout Christian was a sub-purpose. The thing that makes leaders like this most attractive is their embodiment of ideas they have fully committed to. MLK initially began captivating an audience through his work as a pastor. It was here where he began calling for people to act in accordance with their highest values. This leads me to the second thing a leader needs: followers. You must have something in front of you as well as behind you to actually lead. The reason why direction comes first is because people will not follow just anyone in circles. A follower and a leader's alignment in purpose is what creates the relationship. For example, let's say that you have a value system that does not match someone's who you are thinking of following. The likelihood that you choose to align directions with them is very small for fear of being led astray. Of course, in real-world scenarios, you have external variables to alignment such as employment and money. While in plenty of those situations, you may have a candidate that accepts your terms, at their core, they are not aligned with their leadership where it counts. This is why you see places of business with high turnover rate for employment. Most will eventually seek people and opportunities that take them where they want to go. This could be in regards to their morals and ethics, creative and intellectual freedoms, and much, much more. This does not mean their temporary relationship was short-lived with a particular person because they were a bad leader. Most of the time, all that means is your purpose did not match theirs. That's not to say there are not people who are bad leaders. There most certainly are. Statistically speaking, though, leaders should align with at least a small amount of people who will agree towards a pursuit. If you look back and see no one behind you, more than likely you have not committed yourself to a noble direction and should reevaluate what you believe is your core purpose. There are just some ideas to which people will not follow, and thank God for that. The last thing to mention when speaking on leaders is their style or execution. There are countless examples of people abandoning leaders because of the way they've chosen to relay their purpose to their followers. You see this quite often in sports and coaching. Every coach wants to win games. For many, it is their primary focus. But why do we see players who seek out other coaches and programs? The truth is, the coaches that players want to play for are the ones that have placed winning as a sub-purpose. To be victorious is still the objective, but it's not the primary one. You'll notice that many players seek alignment with coaches who would pursue their growth as an individual. The idea of this type of coach is the perfect example of a servant leader. The development of the team would be based on the coach's pursuit of the development of each player. Each player in sync with the team's purpose, but strong as an individual, allows for a stronger pursuit of the team's goal. For example, if I'm a basketball player who happens to have a certain spirituality, I'm probably going to seek out a coach who acts out those same beliefs as we pursue the sub-objective of winning. You might be saying, that sounds like their direction, not their execution. While that's somewhat true, there are certain types of purposes, when embodied by the leader, that have a natural style of execution attached. In the example of the young player's spirituality, many religions have a value system that's been derived from the religion itself. The expectation in embodying those would be to not stray from those values. A non-spiritual example of poor execution would be the boss that emphasizes work-life balance, but consistently expects overtime. The truth is, a leader's execution should be intently focused on making their actions match their words. This builds trust with those who follow and allows a view of what consistent pursuit of the agreed-on purpose truly looks like. In the work-life example, if you knew that when you clocked out of work for the day, your boss would make sure things were finished up because they told you work-life balance was important, how likely is it that you would begin staying a little later to make sure they too could maintain a healthy work-life balance? This is exactly what trust looks like when an alignment of purpose has been created. Leaders who use a style that equates to servant leadership will find more success than those that use a more tyrannical approach. You can never force someone to believe in you or your message. You can only show them by acting out that purpose and showing people every day you will not lead them astray. After breaking this down, you may be thinking whether or not you have the capacity for leadership. I can only answer that question for you one way. While it takes time, research, and diligence to discover truth in this world, you'll find that when it happens, your pursuit of it becomes the lens from which you view everything. When your perspective is shifted to always include your newly discovered purpose, you'll find that acting it out is the most meaningful thing you can do. And when you can do that, you're ready to guide people towards the apparent truths of the world. I, for one, am ready for more leaders like that. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like the video and subscribe. This allows YouTube to recognize this video as something people should see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.